Wow. Okay. So we're ready?
We're ready.
Yes? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Welcome to Health Formers Age of the Plant podcast. Yay! We have here today our very special guest and also another member from my Fiji family, James Moran. Woohoo! Welcome, James.
Yeah, that's right. Doing
Thank
good.
you. Thank you for joining us today all the way from Washington, D.C. Is that right?
That's right. Yep, live and direct.
Wow. Okay. So, to let me introduce you, let me know which tone of voice that you would like me to introduce you in.
I believe today we're going to go for the voice of the intro to Star Trek.
Intro to Star Trek.
Yes. To
Okay.
boldly go where no one has gone before.
Okay. All right. You're really, really testing me here.
Yeah. You'll do great.
You imagine the background music, okay?
Dun, 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 dun.
From a young age, James Moran dedicated himself to spiritual pursuits and disciplines, which includes having a predominantly plant-based diet.
Dun, dun, dun.
After spending 10,000 hours practicing meditation and the same practicing yoga, he found himself teaching these disciplines at Google, Yahoo, Cisco, and over a dozen other corporations.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yet, it wasn't until he encountered the symbolic language of astrology in 2008 that he felt he rediscovered his mother tongue. This language allowed him to help his clients in more areas of their lives than he could just as a yoga instructor. Now he translates the language of the stars for those determined to grow spirituality, so they can understand the hidden workings behind their lives and experience the magic of recognizing that they are nestled in a supportive universe that wants to foster their deepest strengths. Let us welcome James Moran! Yay! How was that?
Yeah, wow. That just kept building and building and building. I was like, wow, we're taking off to another galaxy. This is great. I want to use that as my intro whenever I go somewhere. Just press play.
Yeah, do that. And I loved it. How we paired really well with the music. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so are you ready to get started on our
I'm so ready.
questions?
I'm so ready. I'm pumped.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's see what the flywheel wants to ask you today.
Yes, what?
When you have a craving for meat, cheese, junk food, what do you do?
It's funny. I don't actually have cravings for meat that much, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
What type of diet do you have now?
I eat mostly vegetarian. I turned mostly vegetarian around age 21. I was raised eating meat, but around that time I turned mostly vegetarian. And since then, so I'm married and my wife enjoys eating meat. So we've come to the compromise of one day a week I eat meat. And I think it's good, actually. I've noticed that my immune system is a bit stronger eating meat 1 day a week. But I don't, somewhere along the way of being a vegetarian, I lost the taste for it. I don't actually, I mean, I can enjoy it, but I don't like it that much actually.
Okay.
Like, yeah, so I don't actually have cravings for meat that much. Cheese, junk food, I do sometimes have cravings for like sweets, but it's so rare that if I have it, sometimes I just eat it. But sometimes if food's around, if junk food is near me, I might just eat it because it's easier to eat than preparing something, and then I usually tend to kind of regret it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. And can you explain a bit more regarding why you just grew out of the craving to eat meat?
I
What
feel
happened
that
along the way?
yeah. Um, I mean that, would you like to hear I mean, that's kind of a longer story. Would you like to hear my
Yeah,
kind of
sure. Of
story
course.
of why I became vegetarian?
Yeah.
So I was raised eating meat. I was raised in a pretty typical American 1980s kind of household, um, in which my parents were raised in like the 50s, you know, so they were raised on a pretty kind of traditional diet over here, which is like hamburgers and meatloafs and you know, boiled vegetables, or you know, there's a few different, there's some healthy aspects to it, you know, like vegetables, sweet potatoes, different things like that, but there's meat definitely. um so I was raised on that. And then I went to college, and I was raised in the Washington, D.C. area, and I went to college in California, in a town called Santa Cruz, California, in the greater San Francisco Bay Area, a place that's very progressive, a place that has kind of like a connection to like hippie culture of the
Mm.
60s, and a place where there's a lot of vegetarians. And so when I was in college, I got exposed to a lot of vegetarianism. My roommate in college had never eaten meat in his life. He was raised in California
Wow.
vegetarian, and so I was exposed to that. And around that time, a little before that time, also I got into meditation. I was looking for some peace of mind because I just felt I had a very noisy kind of room inside my head. It was very
Mm-hmm.
noisy. So I took a meditation course, and also on the meditation course, they served only vegetarian food, and it was good. You know, they had like this tofu that was cooked in a certain way. It was like marinated and cooked, and it had like good flavor to it. And I didn't even really know what it was actually, but
Oh,
it was the only
okay.
thing. Yeah, it was the only thing that was there to eat. So it's like eat it, you know. Um, but it was good, you know. And then my roommate in college, he was also like introducing me to tofu, different vegetarian options, really tasty. Santa Cruz, you could get a bunch of vegetarian food real easily. It was actually harder to, I mean, it was like you had to go out of your way to get meat.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and so then I did a study abroad. I was getting really into yoga and meditation. So I did a study abroad in India. Um,
Oh.
And in India, there's also a large culture of vegetarianism
Mm.
because it's kind of influenced through Buddhism and Hinduism,
Yeah.
roots of those religions there, which have kind of a non-violence root to them. And there's a lot of vegetarianism there. So kind of consequently, the culture had ways of having a diet that worked. You know, a lot of lentils, a lot of rice,
Mm.
um, and vegetables, things like that. And so also it was somewhat easy. They do eat meat there too, but there's these options, right? So that you can have a
Mm.
balanced diet. So I was eating mostly vegetarian there too. And then I got hepatitis. I got sick over there.
Oh.
Yeah, I got really sick, and I ended up in the hospital in
Mm.
India. And I was in bad shape. And after that, after I got out of the hospital, I mean, my health had declined, my state of mind had declined. I had
Mm.
gotten like really kind of frustrated um, and kind of uh, like, yeah, frustrated and grumpy, angry kind of.
Mm.
And I was struggling, struggling with my health, and I had done yoga and meditation before coming to India, and that had actually been what inspired me to come to India. So I decided to take it all very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Started taking yoga even much more seriously, practicing it every day. Meditation, I took it much more seriously. And then I took my diet much more seriously, because they said, you have your liver's compromised at the moment. So I stopped drinking alcohol completely.
Mm.
I stopped eating meat. I stopped eating too much oily food. I stopped eating, just caffeine really much. I didn't drink much caffeine. Um, and so that was like really strict. I took that really strictly for a while, and then I carried on like that for a long time. And I just dedicated myself to yoga and meditation, getting my health back. I did get my health back. My liver got really healthy because I was
Mm.
like focusing on it. Um, and I also ended up with, when I was living in India, I ended up with parasites in my digestive tract,
Wow.
which was really difficult too. So that was another reason why I had to eat plant-based diet, because went better with that. Like my digestive tract was made sensitive because of these parasites. So then I became even more like, plant-based, healthy, a lot of raw foods, a lot of plant-based proteins, and a lot of yoga, a lot of meditation. Eventually got rid of the parasites, got my health in really much better place, really good place. And I carried on like that for a long time. And I kind of relaxed as I got into like my mid 30s. That was like my early 20s. So about like, almost 2 decades of that. I began to relax a bit. Like I said, I'm married now, and my wife and I enjoy together meet one day a week.
Mm.
I'm not like strictly abstinent from alcohol. I don't drink alcohol very often at all.
Mm.
But I don't have a strict guideline in terms of meat, alcohol. I avoid oily foods. I still eat mostly plant-based. I like eating raw, leafy greens. Um, but somewhere along the way, between getting sick and really cleaning myself, devoting myself to a plant-based diet, and doing a lot of yoga meditation, somewhere along the way I lost the taste for meat. Actually, I lost the taste for a lot of junk food too. I still like sometimes eat meat, a burger, and enjoy some aspects of it. I still eat junk food every once in a while, maybe enjoy some aspects of it. But in general, I don't, I'm not, the cravings aren't so strong anymore. Like they don't overwhelm me. They
Yeah.
don't, the feeling of kind of yuckiness that follows is
Mm.
like more of thing to consider than the actual craving of pleasure of it.
Yeah.
Um, but still, still sometimes eating ice cream, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
zagging, as we say in the
Yeah.
Tony
Yeah.
Robbins.
Zagging. Yeah.
Um,
Wow. And how have you felt your body change through this cycle that you've been through?
I mean, one thing that's really cool, like this, again, Tony Robbins lingo, life happens for you, not to you. So
Mm.
looking at getting sick with hepatitis, getting these parasites, actually as something that was good in my life, because what it did is it made me really sensitive to my diet.
Mm.
And so with that sensitivity, I experimented with a lot of stuff, eating raw food, eating vegetarian food, um, and then even experimenting with going back and trying meat. And I find that I think the best part, honestly, for me about kind of embarking on the adventure of discovery about health, like the body, paying attention to the body and what it needs in terms of food and other things, is that you get to learn the uniqueness of your own body, and you get to learn kind of, it's almost like a vehicle or something, and you learn how to drive it with better skills. And so I found that just going all out with like a full just vegetarian diet had several advantages. Like I feel lighter. That's one thing. Definitely feel lighter.
Mm.
Have less like skin problems, allergies, um, less kind of heaviness of moods. But also like going really far in that direction, I noticed also I felt that I got sick more. My immune system was like a little compromised. So including a little bit of meat, actually I felt I was able to, I like have been rarely getting sick at all.
Mm.
And it's like a balance, it feels like a
Yeah.
balance to me where it's like, you get that balance where you can have that lightness.
Mm.
You can have that sense of feeling energy, not heavy, feeling good, just feeling
Mm.
good, but
Mm.
not like too weak, you
Mm.
know? Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It's really just listening to your body to see what it needs, because you've gone through that cleansing, detoxing phase. So
mhm.
it's just listening to what it needs.
What it needs, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
One question for you though. Do you think if you didn't go through those illnesses you went through when you were in India, would you have adopted this diet and lifestyle?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I was already on the path of yoga and meditation, which definitely encourages the vegetarianism. And I do like listening to my body. So I like that it's fun, like actually listening to my body and avoiding things that my body doesn't like. Um, but I don't know, because there's the larger predominant culture, and maybe I just would have gone along with, drinking, for instance. Drinking alcohol is such a part of the predominant culture, and
Mm.
like, at that time I was just in that culture. So, I mean, it wasn't like I was drinking a ton, but it was just in the culture. So I was a part of
Mm.
that culture. Meat, maybe it would have been the same if I came. Yeah, I think it probably would have been the same, because it was enough part of the culture of that time, like the early '90s and mid '90s and stuff, late
Mm.
'90s, that yeah, there was actually a bit of an uphill battle, because like if I went out to dinner with my family or went out to dinner with people like different restaurants, sometimes they didn't have vegetarian options. I have to be creative. So I did have to exert effort. And that effort was easier to exert when I had this confrontation with my own health and illness that made me have to draw a line, made me have to draw a line that like, no, I'm going to go out with my friends and I'm not going to drink.
Because it was
I'm
a
going to
life and death situation pretty much for
Yeah, it
you.
was like
Yeah.
this is, I mean, I was laid up in a hospital in India, and I was just like, this is not cool, like, and so I drew a boundary. And so I did go through several years where it was really tough. I'd go to parties with my friends, wanted to go to parties and socialize, and everybody's drinking, but I have to not drink. And people would offer me and be confused why I wouldn't take it. And I'd have to keep up, I'd have to keep that inner strength up and that boundary and say, no, no, I don't want it. Same with meat, go out and, maybe there's not that good of vegetarian options, but I'd have to
Mm.
still stick with it and,
Okay.
maybe end up a little hungry or a little bit not like as great of a eating
Mm.
experience. But now, so yeah, so I think that illness actually helped. It gave me a good
Okay.
foundation so that now I'm very relaxed. I feel like
Yeah.
I can give myself a little play, a little room to play, but also I know what's good, and I've had that experience, that foundation and health.
Okay. What would be your advice then? Because you've gone through that and you had a really strong reason why you had to do it. But what
Uh-huh.
would be your advice to people who are thinking about going on this journey, sitting on this fence, or
Yeah.
just starting on this journey, and they're facing, like, they're surrounded by the community where there's so much temptation,
Yeah.
but they don't have that illness thing like you that
Yeah.
they're going through. They just want to do it. Like, what would you recommend them to stay strong in this?
I'd say watch Lucy's podcast, Uh, uh, and then I'd probably come in with the angle of gratitude, because, you know, that's also encouraged a lot in the Tony
Mm.
Robbins world and different kind of spiritual traditions of saying like, you know, put it on a positive note of like, I think it's a great time to be alive, because culturally, our world culture has come to a place where you can get some vegetarian options in most places. A lot of places you can get, whereas you really couldn't before. In a lot of places, there just was not. You know, like I remember one time I was in Mexico. And same thing happened when I was up in Wisconsin. I said I'm vegetarian. When I was in Mexico, I said I'm vegetarian. They're like, okay, cool. We'll bring you chicken then, you know? And like, and I was up in Wisconsin. I said I'm vegetarian, and they're like, all right, cool. We'll take you to Red Lobster, like, which is like, you know, just like seafood, and meat. And so, anyways, you know, a lot of places have options now, and we have the internet, and you can order things that, and like, you know, you can get, there's grocery stores that have different options. So one thing is I feel it's a great time to be alive, and we, you know, that's worth being grateful for. Another thing is the mindset and the physical health are very much connected. So if you're thinking that you're just going to address your diet and you're making it just a physical thing, I would encourage you to make it not just a physical thing, but make it a whole life thing. That actually, by adjusting your diet, you can let go of a lot of heavy thoughts, behavior patterns, and can consider it like a holistic kind of view of your life. That your life is worth caring for in the way that you would care for anything, you know, like you care for a plant, you care for, you know, like a child or a pet, or, you know, or even some people care for their cars, you know, they keep it nice and everything's perfect. You know, your life is worth caring for. And, you know, like getting, when we're in these circles where it's like a lot of heavy alcohol or mead, or it's like super heavy vibes, you know, getting some type of support with other people who are healthy in body and mind, you know, maybe some therapy too, some spiritual practice, meditation course, Tony Robbins, something that gets your mind in a good place, and also getting your diet in a good place together. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a whole life shift that I think will probably take you a little bit away from the circles where there's alcohol and meat, but not necessarily in a bad way. Because, you know, sometimes people might be attached to those circles and those friendships. That's fine. You can still have that. But I think you can be a leader. You can show those people that there's another option. You know, you can lead by example, and people that are probably worth your time might come a little bit in the direction that you're going. I don't know. Hopefully that's helpful.
That's beautifully said. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's definitely going to end up in, you know, my promotional clips for sure. Yeah.
So,
all right. Let's ask the next question.
excellent. I love this little wheel, by the way.
Yeah. You know where I got this idea from?
Yeah. The wheel. Bring
Yeah.
out the wheel. Bring out the wheel.
Yep. And the wheel has asked, but you already answered this one. It's asking, have you zagged since you became like plant-based? And what's the last thing you zagged on?
Zagging. I zagged last night with some ice cream sandwich, a little bit, you know, some bites we shared. My wife and I share ice cream sandwich. You know, honestly, like I feel like I'm into the whole Tai Chi of zagging, you know. It's like
Tai Chi of zagging.
Yeah, it's like you're here, you're there. It's all part of I used to be real strict, you know, like real strict. But I like being more relaxed. I like kind of going with the flow. And I heard in your podcast with Avi Ohana, it's like, you know, if you make sure that in your home you've got mostly good food, it's, you know that you're going to be all right. Like and when if you zag too much, if you're sensitive to your body, you realize that, you kind of don't feel that good afterwards. And then it's more inspiration to actually go the other way and eat something really healthy. So in a way, the Zag is not, it's kind of, it provides some tension and some bounce back that actually is encouraging of health, I feel. So I don't Zag too hard. But one thing that is an issue for me is gluten. Have you ever had an experience with gluten sensitivity?
I don't have that, but I have friends who have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like annoying for me to digest. It's not a major life threatening illness. For my brother, it's really serious. Like he can't even have like a molecule of it or else he'll end up in a really compromised situation. But for me, it's like annoying to digest, and it's like makes me bloated and stuff, and it just doesn't feel good. So that's one thing that I'll Zag on sometimes because it's just everywhere. Um, and I will know that I'm gonna have to pay the price on it because I know that afterwards, like my digestion is gonna be kind of irritated. I'm gonna be kind of bloated, um, but it's like
You still
it's
do it
enough.
because of convenience?
Yeah, convenience basically.
Mm.
It's like it's just you're part of, I'm there with my wife doing something or I'm out and it's like it's there and everybody's doing it. And I'm kind of like, all right, just go with the flow. Um, you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with your point about the zagging concept because I do that too. And I
Mhm.
actually find this zigzag, this Tai Chi thing, as you say it actually helps you along the journey in a more natural way. Because
Cool.
once you've built the foundation of going through that detox where your body's starting to work for you, your
Yeah.
taste buds has changed. And then when you zag, your body is really sensitive now to all the junk out there. And every
Yeah.
time you do it, I see it as a chance to reprogram the memory tricks that's playing on you.
Cool.
Because a lot of time it's the memory telling that, oh, last time I had the pizza, it tasted really
Yeah.
great. But
That's
do you
true.
know, my taste buds has changed now. So I'm having it this time after detox and it doesn't taste the same anymore. And then
Wow.
you reprogram that memory. So that's the phases I've been going through. Like I do the 10-day challenge and then I'll zag. I did the phase 1 where I did the 4 weeks 100% plant-based and then I zagged. Now I'm in my phase 2 100% and I'll finish it next week. So I plan to zag. I'm
Yeah.
going to zag deliberately. And I'm
Yeah.
going to deliberately zag on my old favorite meals like the grilled fish or the fried chicken or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to see how my body reacts. And I'm going to use that to reprogram my memory again. So it's
Wow.
like,
That's cool. I like that.
what do you call it? Tony calls it the conditioning yourself.
Hmm.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm like using this to condition my body, mind.
Smart. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. What was that you mentioned that the detox, the specific detox? You're saying you're going 100%. Is that
Yeah.
100% plant-based? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100% plant-based. So the first time I did it, was that 10-day thing after UPW, and that was just the 70%
Mhm.
because my life before that was like 50, 60% meat. And I was drinking
Wow.
alcohol every weekend. I was having sweets all the time.
Mhm.
That was my life before. And then, so going from that to 70% plant-based was a big step, and I had to take alcohol out. And even that doing 10 days changed my taste bud to the extent that I accidentally gave up alcohol after that.
Yeah.
And then after Fiji's, when I did the phase 1, 100% plant-based. And after that, my taste buds changed to where, like you said, I don't like meat so much anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah, I actually didn't enjoy it having meat after that. So I'm going to try it again next time round, like next
Yeah.
week, and see how has it changed my taste buds again. And then I'll share my progress.
Yeah, cool. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool that you're doing that and you're kind of
Mm.
making it available for everybody.
Yeah. And I'm just figuring out what's an easy way to go on this journey. And then it'll be unique for everyone for sure. But I'm just testing out different tools and techniques. Yeah.
Cheers to you.
Using myself as an experiment.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Guinea pig. I mean, it's a good experiment.
It is.
It's better than anything.
Yeah, well, I'm conscious that although I'm experimenting on myself, I'm still conscious that I have to be healthy. Yeah. I'm not
Yeah,
experimenting myself to see how junk I can go. So it's
yeah,
not that.
exactly.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, this is more of a fun one.
Okay.
3 words to describe yourself. What are they?
3 words to describe myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's fun, but it's tough kind
Oh,
of.
come on. I know the words for you already, but I have to let you say it first.
Um, I would say I'm positive or optimistic, whichever one. I am loving, I feel, and uh, goofy.
Goofy. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I have to see that side of you more. I'm surprised you didn't use the words calm, peaceful,
Okay.
and astrology, the stars.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, definitely astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah. That yeah, thanks for the calm, peaceful one. I guess I should have. I don't know. I mean, I get that. That's cool. But I
Mm.
also have moments that are kind of, I go through my own moments of inner turmoil, passing turmoil,
Yeah.
so maybe that's why I didn't say that one, but thank you for that. And, astrology all the way. I mean, I was going for like adjectives just to
Mm.
describe my character, but I'm all astrology all day.
Tell me more about it. Because I read your
Um,
ebook and it just blew me away.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
And
you. My
yeah.
ebook. Yeah, I have an ebook called Thou Art That. Utilizing astrology to understand the events of 2020, the global pandemic, and our fundamental unity. Um, and I'll have to. That's available on my website, which is
We'll
jamesmoran.org
put it
slash.
we'll put it here.
Yeah, we'll put it here. Okay, cool. So yeah, thank you for reading that. What would you like to know about astrology?
Well, probably more from the perspective. This is probably going to put you on the spot because it's not on our bucket list of questions.
All
But
good.
how do you think being in all with all this study you have in astrology, how does that tie in with your plant-based diet lifestyle?
Plant-based diet lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good question. When I was, I guess, in terms of my life path, um, in terms of my life path, when I came into astrology through the path of yoga and meditation, because I was really into those
Mm.
things. I was really into spirituality. I was really into the big questions of like, what is life? What is existence? Who am I?
Mm.
Um, and a lot of that, along with that path, there comes up the question of like suffering. Like why would what is painful for me? Why do I go through painful experiences? Why do others go through painful experiences? Um, and so I was trying to understand that, trying to understand it for my own sake, so that I don't have to go through painful, be suffering, and then helping others too. And part of that went plant-based because I was like, I mean, there's different angles, but one of the reasons of going plant-based was like, I was just like, there's a lot of suffering in the world. Like, I don't need to contribute to it more by killing animals, basically, like
Mm.
there's no shortage of suffering in the world,
Yeah.
like I'm coming through as a visitor in this world like we all are. I don't need to add to that. Um, and so that was one of the reasons. And then astrology came out of that by like learning to understand myself
Mm-hmm.
and then learning to help other people and understand them, because I look at what's called the astrological birth chart with people, and it's kind of a map to their psyche, to their nature. And so it can help them understand, their behavior patterns, their challenges in life, can help reframe it, and see that there's actually these strengths that want to grow from them. And it sheds light. And so I'm like, I'm helping people, I'm helping myself, I'm helping people. And, I'm basically relieving suffering, trying to, help relieve suffering and confusion. And so, yes, so there was that aspect of it. And then there was the aspect of it of relieving my own suffering and confusion, and basically meant becoming more sensitive to my experience, my body. And then part of that is just realizing what works and what doesn't in terms of diet. And then when you actually come into the discipline of astrology and learn the language of astrology, you can learn also about people's dietary patterns too. You can look at a birth chart and get a sense of maybe what would an ideal diet be. That being said, I'm not necessarily Joe Pro at that, because that's not always what I do with my clients. What I do with my clients is I sit with them to help them understand behavior patterns and how to convert behavior patterns into the strengths that want to grow out of them. So they're no longer behavior patterns, they're full present spontaneous energy and its full potential. And so, but you can, you can look at a chart. There's a medical way of looking at a chart. When you look at an astrological chart, there's a way of looking at it in terms of understanding people's physical constitution. There's one of the main ways that astrology was used. Actually, Western medicine really comes out of something called medical astrology. They left the astrology part behind, but the origins of Western medicine are related to astrology. Doctors in medieval Europe would do everything according to the birth chart. They would look, and that's the origins of medicine. Like the symbol RX, which is a symbol for a pharmacy, or it's basically a symbol that means medicine. That means radix, which radix is the birth chart. That's the astrological birth chart. So Western medicine comes out of astrology. And so there's a way of looking at the birth chart medically. You can look at it, you can understand people's constitutions, you can understand a lot about them in terms of their physical strengths and afflictions and different things like that. And then a subset of that would be looking at it to understand dietary uniqueness of that person. And again, I don't always use that in that way with my clients, because oftentimes my clients are more concerned with bigger picture stuff in their life, but that is there, and it is helpful because sometimes it's counterintuitive. Sometimes it's it helps personalize diet, because oftentimes what you find in mainstream culture is a one size fits all, because that's just the way that marketing works. Because if somebody's going to write a book on a diet, or they're going to have a course on a diet, they're not going to each individual person and catering it to their unique constitution, because there's only one of them, and it wouldn't be cost effective for them to, unless they are a nutritionist. So a lot of people that start mainstream diets, they tend to be like having like a one size fits all. Even something like for your blood type or something like that, it's still a bit like, it's like one size fits all for that one category. It's not really individually made for you, like you look at somebody who is like a classic example is like Libras, people that are born with the sun in Libra, they tend to eat more sweets. And a standard popular culture diet might condemn that, might say like, oh, that's bad, to eat a lot of sugary stuff. And while it may be worth moderating, just the quality of them and their constitution, it's okay for them to have some access to sweets that or sweet things, you know, like fruits and
Wow.
whatever, that more than other people, because that's just part of their constitution. Like if you were to throw at them a bunch of like heavy foods, like real grounding starches, potatoes, meat, it might not work actually for their constitution. Um, so, and then there's other things like Venus, you know, where's Venus in the chart? Where's Saturn? You know, Venus favors sweet stuff. Saturn's like a little more bitter. Um, and so you can, yeah, it's a helpful tool. It's like
This is fascinating.
yeah, you know, each of us is on an individual journey of finding out how to harmonize ourselves with nature around us by understanding our diet. And so astrology can be a tool in that, but at the base of it is really each individual listening to their own needs and understanding their own
Yeah.
body. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I can tell this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you started sharing from the
It is,
astrology
it is. And you know,
perspective.
somebody
Yeah.
could probably devote a career to this. I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I use angles on it, but you know,
Mm,
but somebody like a nutritionist, I mean, heck, there's probably people out there that already do it. So
yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Cool. Thank you. Um,
yeah,
I can chat with you for a lot longer, but we're actually running out of time. So,
yeah,
next question is, can
yeah,
you
yeah.
tell us a bit more about what are you focusing on in your astrology practice?
My astrology practice. So
Yeah.
at the time of this recording, you know, we're in the middle of 2020, this crazy year that's definitely going to go down in the history books. You know, global pandemic. Um, it's like the year that all those crazy movies that we've been making for the past 30 years have been preparing us for, like Contagion and this and that, and you know, some type of apocalyptic something. Um, so the second half of this year is there's a lot of retrogrades, and so the focus on the second half of this year is really on reassessing, in order at the end of this year, astrologically, the energy that this year has like an energetic stamp to it, it kind of is just for the calendar year. And that's in the ebook that you mentioned. So it's just for the calendar year, that energetic stamp. But the tendency might be to think that when this global pandemic is over, we're going to go back to normal, right? We're going to go back to the way things were. But the second half of this year is a lot of very important retrogrades, and what retrogrades mean is reconsidering, reassessing. So the focus there is actually not on thinking that, okay, this global pandemic is going to be over and we're going to go back to normal. It's reassessing, you know, what was working, what wasn't working from the past, so that when this thing is over, we're going to be in a new cycle. We're going to be kind of in a new direction. So in order to get off on a good foot in that new direction, we gotta go back. We gotta do inventory. We gotta reassess our values, our plans, our actions, our action plans. And so I'm looking for folks who want to get serious with that. You know, want to use the time to really. It's a great time to really get some deep life revolution reassessment going, and so that they can get realigned with themselves, their core center, and get centered and realign with their nature. So yeah, so I'm looking for people who want to take that seriously. And you want to take that seriously, email me, james@jamesmoran.org,
Mhm.
and we'll talk, and it'll all be in the description.
Wow, cool. This is like I'd look forward to chatting to you in 6 months' time and see and have another assessment.
Yeah, love it, love it.
Yeah. All right. And our last question is so our goal of Health Moves podcast is we would like to influence and impact as many people as we can globally. And the way we'd like to do that is to have this diversity. Like today we're looking at how to be healthy, eating plant-based from the astrological perspective,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
fascinating. Is there any friends out there that you can invite to our podcast and also share their journey from and tied in with their expertise? Yeah.
yeah. You know, when I left my home to go to college when I was young, I left DC to go to California, I had this roommate who was raised vegetarian. You know, he was raised, he never ate meat, ever. Never ate meat. You know, he was a California kid, raised plant-based diet. So I would love to nominate him and I'll do that.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to hear his story and see what that's like, because there must be so many temptations along the way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He really knows the cuisine. You know, if you're raised vegetarian, you really got to know. You know, you don't want to just eat the same thing every time. You got to have the same diversity that everybody else has.
Yeah.
You got to do that. You know, kind of like diversify.
Well, okay. Let's get in touch with him and get him on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So if you enjoyed listening to our show today, remember, please share this podcast with your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, with anyone you know who will benefit from this, or anyone who's interested in learning a bit more about astrology as well. Get them to listen to this, because what James shared with us today is just wow, like amazing. So thank you so much, James, for your time today.
Yeah, high five.
High five. Woo! And now the most fun part of the podcast is you get to say our sign-off slogan, which is live healthy, live happy, and ha 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 ha. Laugh it in your own style.
Yeah. Live healthy, live happy. Ah ha 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 ha. Yeah.
Live happy. Woohoo! Thank you, James. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Are you ready? Ready? Welcome to Health Farmers Age of the Plant Podcast. 欢迎来到健康联盟植物的时代。欢迎大家来到健康联盟的植物台语怎么讲？树仔的时代的广播电台。The symbolic language of astrology, instructor. The language of the stars, a supportive universe that wants to foster their deepest strengths. He rediscovered his mother tongue. Mother tongue. 还是这样 He rediscovered his mother tongue. Yoga, meditation. Show yourself with you. Hello. Hi, James.
Well, hello there.
Hello. Wow, have you grown a beard?
I have, yeah.
Wow, how are you doing?
The beard grew me.
Yeah. Is it like a new style you're like trying out or what?
Yeah, I mean, I took the lockdown as an opportunity to just let my full hairiness come out. Men have different styles of beard growth.
Really?
There's the Abraham Lincoln guys that it mostly grows, or like kind of King Tut style where it grows from the chin out.
Uh-huh.
And then there's neck growers where it grows like from the neck out, almost like a scarf or something.
You remind me of Santa Claus.
Really? Nice.
Like if you dye it white, I think that style reminds me of that.
Santa Claus. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Some bearing gifts. How about Taiwan? Do they do Mother's Day?
Taiwan do the Mother's Day on the same day, but Father's Day is different because Father's Day is the same pronunciation as August the 8th.
And look at you, you're doing this podcast. You got, I mean, you went to Fiji, you did Life and Wealth Mastery, blew the top off, you know, blowing up.
Yeah.
Getting real, making it happen.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
that's all Jupiter. Is that Jupiter?
Yeah, Jupiter actually, definitely. That energy that you're born under, 1981, 1982, the triple conjunction there, that's that's intense. Like, I mean, if you look at the time, we were going through this fear of nuclear holocaust, you know?
I had no idea I was a baby.
You were a baby, but you were born. Your coming into this life was into that atmosphere, into the atmosphere of that energy of, concern. So babies being born now, they're being born into this world where it's all like everybody's, isolated. There's this threat. It's kind of hard to see. Where is it? We don't know. So we got to all boundary ourselves off. So they're being born into that energy. So it's similar, it's similar energy that was the last cycle, and you were born into it. So people that are born into it, they take that. It's kind of one of their life's unfoldings, that they take that energy and kind of convert it to something productive.
Spending 10,000 hours practicing meditation and the same practicing yoga. Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Have you primed today? Have you primed?
I have.
You have?
Yes, I primed.
But you really do have this calm vibe in whatever you're talking, and then I just get so drawn into it.
Oh, nice. Love it.
There was a quote in it that I really, really loved, and I highlighted it, is that in your, I think this is page 5, you said, have you ever experienced a challenge that pushed you to the breaking point? Have you ever asked yourself, why me? Only to feel in retrospect that the stage of growth you consequently achieved required an adversary of that magnitude. That one, you're spot on.
Oh my God. Oh,
Loved it. Loved it, James. Really.
Yes. Yes, you rock. You rock, baby.
Thank you. You rock too. You wrote the book. I can see why you're so passionate about this, and I just really loved it when you said you got interested into this because you wanted to relieve people's suffering. That was beautifully said. Like, and I could tell you meant every word of it.
Oh, thank you.
What do you think that you learned from this that gave you that peace of mind you were looking for?
I mean, the biggest thing is probably the fact that if the heavens, the stars reflect your inner nature, then that means that we're not separate. Like we're not just, our life isn't just what happens inside the body and it's this separate thing, and then everything outside is random. It means that our life is the outer world and the inner world reflect each other. They're part of one continuum. So like, my life isn't just me. My life is also the people that I've met, the story that's unfolded, and that's very empowering. That gives a sense that, that my challenges are invitations. They're invitations. Any challenge I've been in is an invitation for me to grow. It's not like, oh, I had this plan and I was living my life according to this plan, and then this thing came and blocked me, and now I'm a victim. Now I'm a victim. This thing happened outside, and it's like, it doesn't have to do with me. It's somebody else's problem, but it happened to me, and now I'm a victim, and that's very disempowering, Whereas if I think that, life has an import to it, it has meaning, it has like, it's that my life is unfolding and it's unified with the stars, with nature, with the other people I meet, then it's like the challenges, I have some meaning to them, and they're causing me to grow. And it becomes almost like that fairy tale way that you mentioned. Like it becomes like a story, it becomes like this adventure, and very spiritual in a sense too, that we're all unified. And so that's the real thing for me, at least, that makes me feel like gassed, like really, really super invigorated and excited for life.
That's like, wow, that's beautiful. On Friday, the other guest I interviewed, she's into all this, she's into this healthy plant-based thing from the energy healing perspective. So what she said was very similar to what you said, is that where we need to align our energy with the force of nature because we're all connected. But she came from the more of the energy perspective, how we're connected to the nature from ground and up to the sky. And you're coming from the universe side. It's just like, oh my God. Now it's just like all connected and like it's crazy in my mind what's happening right now.
Awesome. Love it.
Does Aquarius also have a sweet tooth?
They
because you said Libra and I was like, I'm Aquarius. I used to have a sweet tooth and I still get the sweet tooth craving hits every now and then.
Okay, so you used to have a sweet tooth.
Oh, super sweet tooth. But now I just know how to replace it with natural sweet stuff.
You were born with the moon and Venus together.
Mm-hmm.
And the moon and Venus together is definitely a sweet tooth type thing. Creating something sweet and offering it to somebody else or enjoying it with them, and see if that satisfies your sweet craving more than if you were to just binge on sweets yourself.
This is so creepy because what you just described, I experienced yesterday and today.
No way.
So yesterday I was shooting my Age of the Plants H for hazelnut chocolate chip cookies.
Oh yeah.
And for the video, yes, and then for the recording, because I made a batch that was more than normal.
Yeah.
And so I had too much left over. So for the recording, I was already eating like a couple. So I had too much of it. And then so today I went out with my friend and then I was like, I shouldn't be eating all this by myself. So I gave all the cookies to her and the Nutella paste I made a few days ago to her. And then she texted me this afternoon and say she loved it. She wants the recipe. And that made me really happy.
Nice. So you felt that satisfaction, huh? You feel good?
I felt good because I had it already and I was able to share with her and she really loved it too.
And you're also sharing, you're sharing your podcast, you're sharing your journey, you're sharing a lot, you're feeding our minds, you're feeding our souls in terms of like, in terms of hearing and getting inspired and, getting informed. And
Thank you. It's like what you said, your motivation, how you want to help people not suffer. Mm-hmm. It's the same. I just hope that me sharing my journey, it'll prevent people going through what I went through. When they give you the tools to dig into who you are, do you allow yourself to go through that? Because that's how you're going to really find the inner hero in you, is what they call your calling. Yeah. And that's what I found. And now I'm growing that.
Hell yeah.
I thought it was something astrology, but it's something similar. It's about the life thing. Wow.
It is similar. I mean, in Tibetan and Chinese, they have their own, their own astrological. And so this is kind of similar to astrological. It's its own symbolism. Like it has different stages of life with different animals, and it's very symbolic. It's all symbolic. It's got different enlightened beings here. It's got teachers in the corner. And it's very symbolic of like the cycle and stage of life, which looks like the chart that I showed you. The chart.
Yeah, that's why I said I got curious because it looked similar. Yeah.
The Mayan astrological chart is here.
Huh? Isn't that just a mirror?
It's a mirror, yeah, but it's also got around the frame of the mirror is the Mayan zodiac.
Wow.
Here. And then this one is one that I sculpted myself. This is a sculpture.
You made that yourself?
Yeah, I sculpted it, and then I cast it out of bronze. This is this is the sun. It's actually a candle holder. You can in a mirror light the candle, and the light reflects out. So this is the sun, and then I put the universe behind the sun as a woman. Like her hair has all the planets, and you can see her. It's her face and the moon, and
oh wow,
and
that's amazing. You're an artist,
and you too.
Yeah, we are. We're on this journey together. Yep.
Big hug, my friend.
Yeah, virtual hug.
You got my enthusiasm. Take my enthusiasm.
Thank you. Yeah. And you got mine too.
All right, let's go out and peak state.
Yeah!
Woo!
Oh, I'll see you next time. Let's stay in touch. Thank you, James. Thank you. Bye.